Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our First Falcons community meeting. We are so fortunate that we have Falcons joining us from all over the world. And so we recognize that we may not be able to participate with you live, but we are recording this session so that you'll be able to view it at a later date. But we're really grateful for those of you who are able to join us live and excited to share some information with you and some opportunities for question and answer in just a moment. All right, it's starting to slow down, so we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Bobby Lynn Kekik, and I'm the Executive Director for Orientation and Student Onboarding here at Bentley. And I am so glad to be spending some time with you today to talk a little bit about this exciting next chapter for our new students and their families. So tonight, we're specifically going to be talking about some of the resources for our First Falcons or our first generation college students here at Bentley. I have a fabulous group of panelists who will be sharing some wonderful resources. And as I mentioned, we will open it up for some questions once we get to the end. So with that being said, I am going to turn it over to my fabulous colleagues to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jane DeLeon Griffin. I am a Bentley faculty member. I'm a professor in the Modern Languages Department, and I'm also Associate Provost for Student Success. And what that means is that I care a lot about making sure that all of our students succeed and that they have all the resources that they need to succeed and thrive and accomplish all of their goals in their time at Bentley. I work a lot with our first generation college student community, and I'm really excited to welcome you to the Falcon Nest, and I look forward to meeting you on campus in the fall.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Hubachek, and I serve as the Assistant Vice President and Dean of Campus Life and Student Affairs. I work very closely with Jane and Bobby Lynn around our first gen initiatives on campus, but I also have the opportunity to oversee a variety of campus life activities that happen outside the classroom for students. That includes living on our campus, being well on our campus, being engaged on our campus, and having your spiritual needs filled on our campus. And so I'm excited to be a part of the conversation and share some details with you about our first gen work, as well as to support you as you transition to Bentley. And we are really excited. We don't want the summer to go too fast because we are excited about summer, but we do really look forward to the fall and when you arrive on campus and go through our orientation program. So very excited for you to be here and be with you tonight.
Wonderful. Well, one piece that I have the great privilege of being able to coordinate along with my team is the new Falcon experience. And so this may be a term that sounds very new for folks intentionally, but this really serves as our process to help welcome in our new students and families and really help to support you through each of these milestones. So I'm going to talk just a few moments about this, and then I'm going to turn it back to Jane and to Lauren to talk more about how we specifically support our first Falcons. So for our new Falcon experience, there are three pillars that really help to guide the work in the way that we will interact and support you prior to your arrival to campus. So this really comes through as we think about preparation, support, and connection. So how are we preparing you for your life here at Bentley for this next chapter? What are the resources that we can share with you so that way you can have all of these tasks completed, information to prepare you with that foundation? And then how do we do that with a level of support so that way you can really help to move this along in a smooth progression? We know that the type of support that folks might be looking for varies. So for some people, you may want a quick guide that you can click a link on and it brings you to the answer. For some folks, you may want to talk with someone and you might want to be able to work through whatever the question is that you might have. And that's where you might find our new Falcon question form as a really valuable resource and tool. We also have new Falcon mentors, which are student leaders that are going to be supporting all of our new students here at Bentley. And so if working one-on-one is the route that you want to go, we have that. If you want to search for your answer, we have that. But really just making sure that as we're preparing you for this next chapter, that you are feeling supported. And that next piece that really pulls it all together is this sense of connection and belonging. And what data shows is that the more opportunities for connection that leads to a sense of belonging within our community helps our students to be able to thrive and be successful in whatever success looks like for you. And so we want to make sure that we can bring a little bit of our Bentley community to you and start helping you to connect with your fellow Falcons, with other family members, and really starting to think about what life will be in this next experience. So this is done through our orientation team, helping to support you once you're on campus, leveraging different tools such as our campus groups application, which is an app that our students will use so that they can join different clubs and organizations and get involved. And that orientation program really serves as an opportunity for you to meet in person with your fellow Falcons and be able to really think about these next steps. So for our students, for our family members, you will continue to hear this information. There are a lot of resources out there. One quick plug that I do want to give is that on every Tuesday, you should be receiving your new Falcon news. This is an opportunity for us to have streamlined communication to you to keep you informed. And if we do have a family supporter, guardian, parents, contact information, then we include them as well. So we want to make sure that you can stay informed and support each other. And of course, we always want to make sure that our students are really taking the initiative and taking the lead in their experiences. But we recognize that our new Falcons have been with their families, their guardians, their supporters for much longer than they've been a part of this community. And we want to help welcome you into this as well. One other quick piece that I wanted to draw your attention to is that as we think about preparation for being a new Falcon, there are a few tasks that all new community members need to complete. And while this entire list of tasks can be found in your Bentley Connect portal, which is the portal that you've been using throughout the admission process and now into the new Falcon experience, we did want to draw your attention to a few tasks that are due pretty soon. So that being your online orientation program, that is something that's required for all students, but is also accessible for family members who are interested in reviewing that content. And then the next piece, which is a pretty important one, are the tasks that are due on June 10th. That is our critical reading and writing essay and our math placement process. These are two key steps to make sure that you're completing in order to get prepared for course registration and starting this academic journey. And the last piece that I want to reference is if you are planning to live on campus or if your student is planning to live on campus, they will need to complete a housing and meal plan agreement and application. They've received that via email to their Bentley account and should be able to go ahead and log in. So please, 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 if you are the family member joining us tonight, please encourage them to go in and complete these tasks. If you are the students joining us tonight, please, please go in and take that next step. We know that folks are maybe in a spot where they're wrapping up high school or secondary ed, or you might be transferring in from another institution, or you might be taking care of family, transitioning from a job. Whatever your situation may be, we know it is busy. It is a busy time. And so we really want to make sure that we are providing as much opportunity for you to get ahead of these tasks as possible. Orientation, you will continue to hear more about, but the one thing that I did want to make sure that folks were saving the date for is our orientation program. And so for our international students, that begins on August 25th. And for our domestic students or those who are not studying with a visa, that will begin on August 27th. And last but certainly not least, our family members. As I mentioned, we really do view you as partners in this experience and want to just give a quick plug for some ways that we will continue to connect with and support you throughout this process. So right now you are in one of our virtual sessions. We call these Falcon Live Chats. This is our way to be able to bring a little bit of Bentley to you throughout the summer and throughout the first year. We would love for you to continue joining us in these sessions. If you're unable to join us live, we will always post recorded videos to our YouTube channel. We also have some on-demand videos if there are different offices or areas that you're interested in learning more about. And then if you're able to join your student when they move onto campus, then we will have some different campus receptions available during that week. We'll continue to connect with our families through our Bentley Brief newsletter, which is sent to all of our family members, our alumni, and other friends of Bentley. You'll have access to that new Falcon question form, which is a really useful tool. So when you have a question and you're not sure where to reach out to, you fill out that question form and we will help get you connected to the right resource. And the last piece I wanted to reference is, while we will have some on-campus receptions during that first move-in week, we recognize that being able to travel to campus is not something that is accessible for all of our families. And so we will host a virtual workshop for all families in September to make sure that you're able to get connected with some of the different resources that students will be able to receive support through. You'll hear from our undergraduate academic advising team. You'll hear from some current students. So a great way to just make sure that you're feeling connected as your student is starting this next chapter. So now I am done with my shameless plug, and I want to dial it back in to really talk about all the ways that we care, support, and take care of our First Falcons. So I'm going to turn it back over to Lauren and to Jane to get started on how we are supporting our First Falcons.
Thank you, Bobby Lynn. So we're going to start by just giving you a sense of who are your fellow first-gen students. We wanted to take a little bit of time to share some data with you, some statistics. So here you're going to see a little bit about who are our current first-gen students. I want you to know you're not yet included in these numbers, but you will be very soon. And so you can see kind of the ethnic and racial breakdown of the first-gen students in the donut on the left-hand side. And then you have a comparison in the donut on the right-hand side. Those are our multi-gen students. That means they're not first-generation college students. What I think is interesting to point out here is on the left-hand side, the largest population of first-gen college students at Bentley are Hispanic. And on the right-hand side, you'll notice that the largest population of multi-gen students on campus are white. And that is that dark green section of the donut on the right. And so it is a much more diverse population within our first-gen community. And that is not only true for race and ethnicity, but it's also true for legal sex. 49% of first-generation college students at Bentley are female, whereas only 37% of our multi-gen students are female. And 35% of our first-generation college students are Pell eligible, which means they're low income, whereas only 10% of our multi-gen students fall into that category. So it is a much more diverse student population, and that is one reason that we care about you so much, and we're so happy to have you on our campus. So then there are a couple more statistics I wanted to throw your way just in terms of how successful our first generation college students are. We're incredibly proud of these numbers. So 23% of the overall total undergraduate student population is first generation. 92% of our first gen students persist at Bentley year over year. So they stay here, which is really great news. The median cumulative grade point average for first generation college students is a 3.47 or almost a 3.5, which is very, very good grades. So our first gen students are super smart. We had this statistic of the job placement. 98% of our graduates, first generation college students who graduated in 2024, were placed in a job or in grad school immediately after graduation. We are very proud of that number. And the median starting salary after graduation, again, just for first generation college students, is $75,000 a year. So that gives you just a quick overview of our first gen students. Before moving on to the next slide, I do want to say that this past Saturday, we celebrated commencement where we graduated our most recent class. And it was one of the first times in a long time that our first generation college students had a higher 4-year grad rate than their multi-generational peers by only 1 point, but they did beat them. And so I was really proud to see that. Students that started at Bentley in fall of 2022, our first gen students graduated in 4 years at 83%, and our multi-gen students graduated in 4 years for that class at 82%. So go First Falcons.
So you've heard Jane just reference First Falcons. That's what we call our first gen students at Bentley. And we know that our first gen students are amazing. And coupled with a lot of the programs and activities that we support, that's how students are able to be so successful on our campus. So BL mentioned that you have a housing agreement to go in and sign. And part of that agreement is understanding what are the defined communities you could potentially live in as a first year student and a first gen student on our campus. And so you see that picture on the top of your screen. That's our first gen defined community doing some community building outside on one of our green spaces. Just like today, it was a beautiful day outside. It was so nice to be outside today. So that's an opportunity for you to consider as a first gen student. You can be part of that. We do have two first gen scholarship programs. We have the first gen presidential fellows and the Bentley First program. And so you would have seen that information on your package, your financial aid package that came to you as part of your acceptance to Bentley. What you see in the two pictures that were just brought onto the screen is on the left, you have the president of the university, Brent Crate, pinning one of our students that just graduated this year, Rosa Chai, in her first gen pinning ceremony that happened 4 years ago. We started this tradition at Bentley so that students embark on their journey here at Bentley and understand that they're important and their experience is important. And we hope that they keep that first gen pin with them so that they wear it on their commencement robe at graduation, but it signifies the start of something new. And then on the right-hand side, you see two students with cords draped around them. Those cords are our graduation cords to signify your graduation as a first-gen student from Bentley. And so we do a full ceremony, a cording ceremony at the end of your 4th year where you receive those cords. And so that coupled with the pin, we hope that you wear proudly at commencement. We like to create those activities and create those events so that they bookend your experience, that your families get to engage in them and see the opportunity and where you've come from that pinning moment to that courting moment. In addition, Bentley has worked incredibly hard and under Jane's leadership has become the Center for First Generation Student Success, the recognition as First Gen Forward, and we're excited to keep that recognition and continue to do the work as a cross-campus group of folks that come together to make sure that all of our activities around First Gen students are supporting one another and not overlapping. We do have a First Falcons mentorship program. It's sponsored by Deloitte. It's an opportunity for you to engage with an employer who's a partner with us and work in mentorship with them and with us through our Pulse for Career Center. So exciting opportunity there. We're going to share a little bit more about career outcomes in a minute. We do have Tri Alpha on our campus, which is the national organization that recognizes students who are first gen. It's an exciting opportunity for students to be engaged not only in the organization, but then also potentially take on a leadership opportunity in that organization. And then last but not least, we do have our First Falcons Connect, which Jane is going to go into great detail about that program in just a few minutes. It's really exciting because we're on year 2 of the First Falcons Connect program, and it's nice to see it continue to grow. And there's lots of opportunities for you to get involved in First Falcon Connect tonight. So I'm excited for Jane to share that. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about our career profile, and this is from our 2024 graduating students. But what you'll see on the left is our First Falcons program in which we do visits to companies. We take students to different companies. We've taken students to different conferences, but our goal is that you're building your network, you're reaching out, you're connecting with folks. And we specifically do this with organizations that understand our first gen student population. And so Liberty Mutual has hosted us for a while now, and we've had the opportunity to bring our First Falcons to Liberty Mutual. And what you see in the career profile, kind of speaks to what Jane shared earlier, but our first gen students are doing incredibly well in their return on investment from Bentley. And so the work that you put in comes out in these outcomes in a career profile. We know that you grow as humans, you grow in your experience and your well-being and all of those pieces. And also we know that your career is incredibly important to you and your family and your supporters. And it's incredibly important to us that you're successful. And so you can see here that the class profile, as well as our placement rate, who are employed, as well as attending graduate school, and then that salary piece that we talked about 75,000. A number of students did do internships and receive a full-time offer from their internship experience. A lot of students network, and that's why we bring folks to Liberty Mutual, and we have the Deloitte mentorship program. We do have on-campus recruiting where companies come to us. We have a very large career fair. And if you visited campus at any point, you might have seen our arena, which typically is filled with employer partners who are looking to recruit Bentley students. Our career center is phenomenal. You might know that they're ranked. It might be in your admissions materials, but they're an incredible partner with Jane and I on the first gen initiatives that we have at Bentley.
Thanks, Lauren. So now, lastly, we're going to talk about a new program that, as Lauren mentioned, is in its second year, First Falcons Connect, and you can be a part of this program. We would love for you to be a part of this program, and we're inviting you to be a part of this program tonight. It's opt-in, it's voluntary. You can just decide you want to be a part of it and sign up. So let me explain a little bit what it is. Research shows us that students are kind of most vulnerable in their first year of college. And that is a time when they need a lot of extra supports wrapped around them. And this is especially true for first generation college students. Your transition from high school to college is probably one of the biggest transitions that you're going to experience in your life so far. And we want to make sure that it's a positive transition for you and that you have the wraparound services and support that you need to create a really strong foundation on which to build the rest of your Bentley education and Bentley journey. And that's what this program is designed to do. So it's a first year program only. It'll just be from the first day of orientation until the last day of class of your first year. And then we release you into the wild and you're just a regular First Falcon. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to find those milestone moments in a student's first year experience and build supports around those so that we're coming to you where you already are instead of creating a program where you have to come to us. So what are those milestone moments in the first year Bentley experience that all Bentley students really go through? The first is orientation that BL described a little bit earlier, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about throughout the summer. The second is Falcon Discovery Seminar, which is a class that I teach and love very much, and it is required of all first semester, first year students. You're all going to take Falcon Discovery Seminar in the fall. And then in the spring, you're most likely going to take Career Design Introduction. That is not a required course, but it is a class that over 90% of first year students take because it starts preparing you for your career preparation and thinking about how to create a cover letter, how to build your LinkedIn profile, how to start thinking about internships and someday job applications. And so we took those three pivotal moments in a student's first year experience, and we decided let's create a program for first generation college students according to those experiences. So First Falcons Connect is a cohort experience. If you decide to join, you're going to be put in a cohort with 20 other first generation college students, just like you, in your same experience with similar backgrounds. And you're going to go through all of those moments of your first year experience together. You're going to go through orientation together. When you show up to your first day of class in Falcon Discovery Seminar, everyone in that class is going to be in your cohort, in your First Falcons Connect cohort. When you show up to your first day of CDI 101 in the spring semester, everyone in that class is going to be in your cohort. And so we really wanted to build this community around you where you have kind of a built-in peer network from day one on campus. And so that's going to include not only your peers that are in the cohort with you that are also first year students, but it's also going to include your orientation leaders, your Falcon Discovery Seminar faculty and peer leaders, your academic advisor, a financial aid counselor, a career coach, and someone in the defined community if you choose to live in the First Gen defined community. All of those people are part of First Falcons Connect and are there to support you throughout this journey. We also, in addition to the orientation, Falcon Discovery Seminar, and career prep course, we added a special thing that's unique to only this program, and that is 4 weeks of financial literacy that happens in the spring semester that you'll also get as part of being in this program. And that is an extra way to help to help ensure that you understand your financial aid package, how to finance your Bentley education, how to make a little bit of money maybe while you're a college student, and how to prepare yourself to be financially stable when you leave school so that you're on really solid footing when you're starting your career and your first job. You're not weighted down with too much debt, those types of things. So that's an exciting opportunity too that's available to you through First Falcons Connect. I want to give you just two quotes from some students that were part of First Falcons Connect this past academic year. So they were first year students. They're now going to be rising sophomores. The first quote is from Jesslyn Rosales, and she is a First Falcons Connect class of 2029. And she said, "My experience in First Falcons Connect has been an unforgettable part of my first year. Being surrounded by peers facing the same obstacles as me has made me feel supported, connected, and ultimately find a true sense of belonging away from home." That is exactly the goal that we had for this program when we created it. And it makes my heart so happy that Jocelyn actually felt this way, because that is just what we wanted to provide for students. And then the next student is Jennifer Guzman. Jennifer is actually from Guatemala. She's an international student who's also a first generation college student. And she said, "To have come to a new country, a new community, and a new stage in my life was one of the most rewarding and difficult moments for me. However, I was taken under the wing of the first generation family. I connected, evolved, and I am thriving as a direct result of this program." So I hope that those quotes inspire you. They're inspiring to me. And that can be your experience too if you want to be part of First Falcons Connect. So if you are interested in learning more about the program, we have a QR code. You can scan that and it'll take you to our website. You can also just Google First Falcons Connect Bentley University, and that'll take you to our website. You can read more about the program and you can sign up. And we have lots of spots available. It doesn't come with any money. You're not going to get any extra scholarship, but you'll get lots of support. You'll get lots of community. You'll get lots of good times. You'll get some swag, and you'll get a lot of free lunches with pizza and all kinds of that kind of stuff. So we hope that you'll consider joining. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for sharing some of the wonderful resources and opportunities that we have exclusively for our First Falcons. We recognize that there may be many questions, whether it is exclusively about the First Falcon experience or just about this next chapter that you are going into. So what we'd like to do is invite you to ask any questions that you might have. Please know, as I mentioned earlier on, we do have our new Falcon question form. So if you're viewing this as a recording, or you have questions that come up after this session, or feel a little bit more personal to your experience, you're always welcome to reach out to us through that new Falcon question form, and we can make sure that we can help to support you moving forward. So I am going to stop sharing my screen so you're able to see all of us panelists, and then invite you at the bottom of your screen should be a little box that has a question mark and says Q&A. So if you do have any questions, you're welcome to go ahead and post those in the Q&A, and we'd be happy to answer them. Well, I know one of the questions that was submitted in advance of our session was asking about a few pieces about moving to campus and what that looks like. So I'm happy to respond to that for folks. Also share that we will have one of these webinar sessions exclusively on living on campus. So invite our students and families to join us for that as well. But one of the questions was about when will my student move in? And then also, do you have to rent a micro fridge? And so I know these are some little detail pieces, but these are the things that might keep us up at night, right? So for that move-in component, if you are an international student, you would move in on August 25th. And then if you are not studying with a visa, you're a domestic student, you would move in on August 27th. Where that looks a little different is if you do apply into our Mosaic experience, which is a program, a pre-orientation program for our students of color and their allies, or if you do apply into one of those defined communities that Lauren was talking about, whether that is the first gen community or another defined community. If you do apply for one of those communities and are accepted, then you would plan to move in on August 24th. You will receive all of these details from the residential center. So please know that that will come to you specifically, but just so that way, if you're starting to pre-plan. In regards to the micro fridge, that is something that if you are interested in having, you are welcome to bring. There is a partner that we do work with at Bentley. So if you are looking to rent, we're happy to share those resources. Once you continue to move up in your experience living on campus, that is something that's provided. So when students are in a suite style apartment, you will have a small kitchenette that is has a refrigerator in that. And then as you continue to move up into our larger apartment styles, then you'll have a full kitchen and fridge and all the works there. So just wanted to make sure I could share that because there was a family member who asked that question before the session. Anything else that folks have, or Lauren or Jane, any other pieces that you want to make sure we're reflecting to this group before we jump off?
Bobby Lynn, I was just going to add to your move-in experience, whether you come early or whether you come right for orientation, be prepared to enter, a campus that is full of energy and excitement on your move-in day. It becomes, the streets are lined with students and excitement and foam fingers and really excited for you to be there. You really feel like you're being welcomed and kind of a little bit maybe shocked or curious, like how do these students have all this energy all day long and they do it all day? But it's such a unique experience for our students to be welcomed that way because it's really special to be a part of the Bentley community, and we're excited for you to come on that move-in day, whether it's early or whether it's for the traditional orientation program. It's quite fun, and I get a lot of joy out of standing in a parking lot and welcoming students to campus. So I'm excited to see all your faces on that day.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty special how much not only us as faculty and staff, but as your peers, your fellow Falcons are excited to have you join into the community. It's pretty nice.
There's one question that came in that I can answer. So it's about a course that we're running for the very first time this summer. And it's ID 399, and someone posted that they're having a hard time finding it. That might be because incoming first year students are actually ineligible to enroll in classes over the summer before the fall when you matriculate for the first time. We did have some miscommunication about that, so I apologize if you received emails enticing you or encouraging you to enroll in that class, and then you just come to find out that you can't. So I apologize about that. I guess the upside to that is if you were to enroll, we would charge you for that class. So the good news is you're not going to be charged for an extra course over the summer. And we will hopefully, because it's the first time we're offering it, it's a pilot, but I'm hoping that the pilot goes really well. And if it does, we'll be offering it again, and you'll definitely get another opportunity to take it either in fall, spring, or summer going forward. So not an option right now, but definitely will be an option moving forward.
Wonderful. And as you think about the broader course registration here at Bentley too, please know that there are tons of resources to help support you through that process. as you're going through online orientation, that will give you some more details, but then we have some really robust resources to help our students and families feel prepared as you're navigating this first course registration process. I think a lot of times we get questions as soon as students deposit of, okay, who's my academic advisor? How do I do this? How do I change my major? And we just encourage folks to take a breath, and we will walk you through that process. You have not missed anything, but want to make sure that folks are aware of that. We did have a question. If folks wanted to see the full length of the recording of this, we will be posting it up to our YouTube channel. So please go ahead and look for it there. By participating in this session, you will have that recording sent to you directly. So you'll be able to go ahead and view it at your own pace. All right. Well, not seeing any other questions, I want to be respectful of people's time. Just want to say a huge thank you for joining us. As I mentioned, this recording will be available for you starting tomorrow, so you're welcome to take a look at it there. And this is the first of many community meetings that we will host specifically for our First Falcons, so you will see a few more invites coming throughout the summer. But then we will also have different virtual social events and programs for our incoming students. And then also you'll be able to engage in our Falcon Live chat series for family members to continue learning more about Bentley and supporting your students. So please be on the lookout for that. Before we jump off, I do want to give one quick plug because we did get one last question before we head out, but about checklist items and when they are checked off. Those will come shortly, so please do not stress. As long as you've logged into the portal and you've seen that it's been completed, it will check off. So I see some folks here, and I appreciate the eagerness and willingness to get in there. If you are not seeing it within a week, then I would reach back out, but that will check off for you here shortly. So thank you all so much. Thank you for choosing Bentley. We are so excited to see all that you will do during your time here. Please ask us all the questions. We want to make sure that you can maximize this experience. This is new for everyone, and there are no questions that shouldn't be asked. Just ask them, and we're happy to help support you through this. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at our future events. Take care. Thanks so much.